So massive welcome back to DCPT podcast. Get a grip with me and Joe and my special guest today, Rachel. It's been a while since we've done this.
Yes.
Just some of us are too busy.
Yeah,
some of us are too lazy.
Every time you say to me, you free this Wednesday?
Aye.
You say, I'm tired, I'm going to my bed.
Well, you tire me up, to be honest. But, so the day, this one's a bit special. We've got Rachel in to talk about, basically, incurable cancer that she carries herself, and we want to get this. So this is it's going to be a tough one for us, I think.
It will be, especially with myself being through some sort of
Joe's been through it,
not as much as Rachel, right enough, but it's just to give people an insight of what her journey's been, and basically where she's came from, and what the future part of future treatments and stuff that's going to be coming up.
And as we say, if this can help even one person, it's done its job, really.
Mm-hmm.
We met Rachel through the gym, and this is a part I like as a PT. The fact that Rachel still trains, to me, is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the kind of obstacles you've got.
You've got every excuse not to train, but I use every excuse not to train. But you've got I think it's phenomenal that you do. So, best way we can do this, I think, is tell us your story. Go for the start, basically when you were first diagnosed to what happened now, and then we'll go for there.
Yeah, okay, so I was first diagnosed in October 2021, so I was only 33 years old with a 4-year-old and a 7.5-year-old, about that age. So it was a lot. I think I was already aware about cancer, and especially breast cancer. I'd followed some women on social media who'd been through it, so I was already quite, scared. But at that point, I wasn't checking myself. I'll be honest, I wasn't doing it. I really don't think, even now that there's enough awareness about doing that, there's really not enough people speaking about it.
I know, even as a guy, I wouldn't. I could honestly tell you, I've never checked myself.
Yeah. So
especially at that age, especially being 33,
age,
sometimes it's not you're not aware of it. You're as you say, 2 young kids, and
you never think it's going to be you. I think
that's the crazy part about it, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, so it was, I just found it by accident. I just knew it wasn't right, it wasn't supposed to be, they hadn't always been there, so phoned up, got to the doctors to see the nurse. She didn't think it was anything, to worry about, but because I had said, I'd followed other journeys, I was just worried, can you please just refer me anyway? So the fact that she wasn't going to instantly refer me is quite scary as well, because of my age, so she wasn't really too worried about it. And I wasn't overly worried as well, but as I said, I'd followed other people's journeys of women who were my age or younger going through things like this, so it was in the back of my mind.
Did you think it was because of your age, because you were 33, it was maybe a really uncommon kind of thing?
Well, you can get fibroadenomas, which are non-cancerous cysts in breasts, so it could have been something like that. I think she thought it was maybe a blocked milk duct, which I'd never heard of, and I thought, well, I'm not breastfeeding, and she said you don't have to be breastfeeding to have a blocked milk duct, and I was like, okay, well, but I'm just wanting it checked out anyway. I'm not happy to just walk away from this, so.
You know your own body. Well, anybody does. Everybody's the exact same.
Exactly.
It's like if a doctor could reach in and feel what you feel inside your body, I think diagnosis would be a lot easier.
Definitely.
But they're just second guessing what it could and couldn't be.
Yeah.
So you went there, and you were making sure to get yourself on the path. What was the next stage for yourself to get through?
So the next stage was, she said she'd refer me, to the breast clinic, but it would take up to 2 weeks. And I said, okay, well, can you just be honest with me, will I be seen within these 2 weeks? And she was like, probably not. And I don't think she's maybe told not to say that, but I was just asking, I was wanting
they don't want to say something that might not be.
Exactly.
But you and I know when they do the CT, not the CT scans, the ultrasounds, they've probably seen it a million times over, but they've still got a protocol to keep to.
Exactly. And so how she worded it was, women that are 40 and over will be seen within the 2 weeks, but because you're under, it'll probably be over 2 weeks. And I just said, that's not good enough for me.
That's pathetic.
So I asked her to refer me private, and just as well I did,
Was this at Ross Hall?
Yeah.
Ross Hall?
Yeah.
So how long was it then?
It was under a week.
It just shows you done to us.
I know.
Shows it can be done.
It just shows you sometimes as well. Sometimes if you do kick up a stink, it gets you. No, it doesn't get you pushed forward, but it makes people think.
People listen.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the only person that's the champion of yourself is yourself.
Exactly.
You know, so if you don't take care of yourself, sometimes you just get lost in a lot of the waiting lists.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yep.
What did you do the first time you heard your cancer? Where did
So
you
when
go
I
with that?
went to Ross Hall, they done this is the scary part. They done a mammogram which suggested, you know, nothing serious. That's what women get all the time. That's all they get before, you know, if they're, you know, that's your
That's the
checkup.
one with the big machine, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
it's very, it
It's
can be
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's sore. But that was what scared me, was the fact that that's what women are given, you know, to test for things like this. And mine came up as, you know, nothing to
Nothing,
be concerned about. I mean, they could see it, but it didn't look like it was a concern. And then when they done the ultrasound, it was a foreign doctor who done it, and she was silent, very silent. And I just said, she had quite a thick accent, it was quite hard to understand. At that point, it was the tail end of COVID, so she had a mask on, so it was quite hard to understand what she was saying.
Was the ultrasound done at the same time, or was that done at a later?
She was doing it
same
while
time?
I was speaking to her.
Right, okay. No, I mean when you got the mammogram.
Oh
was
yeah,
it
it was done right after it.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So when you pay privately, they just do it there and then.
Okay.
So when so I just said to her, you know, the silence was too much, and I said, what can you see? Can you tell me? And all she said was, and this will stick in my head forever, was that around the lump looks fluffy, and I don't like fluffy things in the breast. So right there and then I kind of already knew.
Your kind of heart sank straight away,
Yes.
you know, and obviously you're it's like yourself, you're asking because you're looking for the peace of mind in your own head,
Yeah.
because that thing inside your skull is the worst thing in your
Yeah.
life. You know, it can be, you're just looking for a little bit of reinsurance.
Exactly.
But as you say, if you saw it on the woman's face,
Yeah.
the blood just drains from you.
Yeah.
You
How
know?
did you react to that?
I just kind of was like, I just said, okay. I didn't get upset or anything, but I had driven myself to Ross Hall, and as soon as I came out of home, my mum and dad drove to come and get me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what happens from there?
So from there, they wanted to do a biopsy, but because I didn't have like health insurance at the time, I just got referred back on NHS, because that would have been into the, you know, thousands of pounds. But that was quite quick. That was done within 10 days, because it went as an urgent referral for possible cancer. And so I was sent back to NHS for the biopsy, which was done within 10 days. And then I got the result within 10 days as well. And that was the day they told me, which was the 21st of October, that would have been, I think it was. Yeah, that was the day I was told, which is my wee nephew's birthday.
Did you find out then exactly what it was you had? Like if there'd been the triple negative?
Yep. Yeah, it was there, she told me, yeah.
Did she go
What
into...
exactly does triple negative mean?
So most breast cancers are positive. This is the only one that's sort of, all of it's negative. So it's the worst, most aggressive breast cancer.
Right.
But there's less women, less women have it. So therefore all of the research, you know, all that kind of thing, the trials is more dedicated to the other breast cancers. So there's not as many treatment options for us, basically.
Did you,
wondered what that was.
did you do the... I know I did it. Did you Google it?
I actually never.
No.
I was too scared to. And that's not like me, because usually I tackle things head on, and I need to know exactly what's going on. But just the fact that they told me I had cancer that day was enough to just, my mind was gone. I was in shock for a good couple of weeks after that. And the reason I knew I was in shock was because the 21st is my nephew's first birthday, but his first birthday party was that. So it was a Thursday, and his birthday party was on the Saturday. And my mind was just gone.
Got away.
Like I just was, when I look back at pictures.
Did you
now, I
tell
was away.
anybody? To
Oh
start
yeah,
with?
all my family knew.
Did you?
Yeah, my
Right from the start?
best friend. Right from the start.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd react to it. Like, actually, I don't know if I would keep quiet.
I think some people would in that. Yeah, I can understand that.
But I also think that some people also talk about it, because it's like, in a way, it's not woe is me, it is me. It's like you're looking for some sort of help. It's like,
That's it.
yeah, it's like us speaking about it just now. There's people that will sit there and go, I could never talk about it. But what they're saying is make me go do something about it. You know, and that's like with myself, when I spoke to other guys that had what I had, you're looking for a little bit of an avenue. You don't know what's there. You know, you're looking to try and get everything in
the
your basket
information.
to think, how do I battle this? How do I get through this? What's the best way for me to go for what I've got?
Yeah.
See,
You
I
know,
think
so-
I could get quite into myself.
I
Quite
think
quiet.
that's quite common in men, though.
I think
as
I
well.
could,
I do think
purely for the fact that I would think of the idea that I don't want to burden anybody else,
Yep.
which is crazy. I
Yep.
know that, but I think that's the way I could go quite
Yeah.
easily.
Yep.
What about I know I was saying earlier, but what about the kids at this point? Did you tell them?
No, I didn't tell them because I hadn't really processed it myself, and I didn't know what it meant for me. I mean, I knew on that day, a lot of people I speak to have said the minute someone tells, the doctor tells you've got cancer, the first thing you think is, am I going to die?
100%.
That didn't even come into my head though.
Mine's
And I know it might sound quite vain, but my first thing was, am I going to lose my hair? Do I need to do chemotherapy? Because your hair's really just, it's a big deal, especially for women.
I was going to say,
Especially for women.
I don't know about that.
I know, and I've obviously got a wee girl as well, so I was thinking about my daughter and how's she going to react seeing me with no hair, and it was
I
everything.
get that.
So,
That's too big to worry about.
That's I had that problem myself.
but even if a guy does lose his hair, I know it is very difficult. Like of course it's difficult, but it would grow back a lot quicker for a man than it would a woman. So I definitely think it's a big thing for women.
Did you lose quite a lot of your hair?
I lost a
What
lot
was
of
it?
hair, yeah. But I use something called the cold cap. That's another thing that's not spoke about enough on the NHS. Women are not educated enough on it. There's not enough information. It's something I've actually been looking at to try and get information out. But it would need to be just from me and not part of the NHS because.
Could you explain the cold cap?
Yeah,
Me personally, I don't really know what that.
Yeah, I never knew.
heard of it
I
before.
hadn't ever heard of it even before this, which is not good, really. I think everyone should know about it. But a lot of women just see it as they just want to shave their hair off. They don't want cancer to take their hair, and I understand that as well. So they just shave it. But for me, I was like, I just can't go through losing it. So the cold cap's something that you wear during your treatment. It's freezing. It is horrendous. I've got PTSD from it now, really badly. So you put like a cap on first, and it's sort of fluid runs through, and it's ice cold, and then you put another cap on, and it gets tightened under your chin, and it's all pulled down really, really tight. So as long as that's touching your scalp, it doesn't work for everybody, but if that's touching your scalp, it kind of makes the chemotherapy bounce back the way instead of affecting your hair follicles. Is the only way really I can describe it. And the cap, it comes in 3 sizes, in the small, medium, and large. And the small was still too big for my head, which I didn't really realise at the time because I didn't really know what I was doing with it. But I could still put my hand right up the back of the cap. So obviously where that cap wasn't touching my scalp's where I lost all the hair.
Okay.
But the nurses even couldn't believe that I'd managed to keep all of my crown. So where I'd lost big, massive bald patches at the back, my hair at the top was still able to cover it. But I couldn't wear it down because it was like so thin, there was hardly any hair,
That's what I was going to say. When obviously your hair has grown back.
Yes,
I've heard of so many people, along with my own kind of path, that the hair grows back totally different.
Totally different, yeah.
Is it more fluffier, more
or curlier? Yeah, it can. I mean, mine wasn't the same in the sense that nothing, I'm just glad I had hair there, because I was bald right over the top of my ears, because all cold cap only comes down to about here on most people, so you lose it from your over your ears usually first of all. But yeah, so it was...
It's people maybe think, well, that's quite a vain thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. I think it's a woman thing.
I do.
It's like women will go to the shop and have makeup on.
Yeah.
It's not to go to the shop
Well, that's
to
it.
have makeup
It's
on.
not to impress anybody else, it's to make you feel better.
100%.
I can believe that, especially when you get through something like that.
Yeah.
No point making it worse.
I do believe there are women that do it and it's easy for them, they're like, no, it's no bother, I'm tackling this head on. But I think for a lot of women it's very, very difficult.
Get that. So where did your treatment go for there?
So that was, so from there, so first of all I had the operation first before I did any treatment. What I was told, I don't know if it might be different in different countries or whatever, but what I was told in the UK was if your tumour is 2 centimetres or smaller, you have a lumpectomy first, which is just to remove the lump, and then you do treatment. If your tumour is, 2 centimetres or over, then they do treatment to try and shrink it, and then they'll remove it. Mine was only something like 1.6, so they removed it first. Along with a couple of lymph nodes which were clear on the scan, but they took them out to look at them properly anyway, and they were clear.
So they did the lumpectomy. And not the mastectomy.
Mastectomy, no.
No, okay, that was definitely one of the questions.
Which at that point was, I was like, oh my God, I don't want a mastectomy. See, now that I'm more educated on it, I would be like, just take everything away. Like to not go through what I've been through. It would be nothing for me to go through that now. Yeah.
Would that have made a difference at the time, no?
No, because my tumour wasn't actually directly in my breast. It was like around the side, just under my armpit. So that area's flat, and that's also how I knew that a lump there wasn't normal.
Right.
Yeah.
How did that, moving on from when obviously you started getting the surgery, how did your cancer treatment and the surgery literally start affecting your daily life? Did it affect you?
Surgery was easy. I mean, it was a small lump. I was left with a small scar. It was no bother. I had no restriction in my arm movement or nothing whatsoever. So that was like a breeze for me, After that, you have to wait till obviously you're fully healed before you start your chemotherapy. I wouldn't say it restricted me massively because I think chemo was kind to me. I think I was quite lucky. I wasn't bedridden for days, you know, which unfortunately can happen to a lot of people. You know, there was the odd side effect here and there, but I was able to get up and do most things. Yeah.
Did you still keep your exercising kind of stuff going through?
I didn't.
Was it more a thing?
I never know. I'm annoyed at myself for not, but at the time I mentally just couldn't. I was prepared to lose all my hair at the time, and I wasn't going to the gym like that.
No, I totally get you because, I mean, for a woman, a hair is the thing, and for you to lose that and to go, not as much sense in public, but loads of people in the gym, it's not that you're not want to advertise that you're unwell. You know, you don't want people kind of staring and looking.
That's it. Yeah.
And for a woman having no hair, that's the biggest thing.
You just know right away.
Yeah, 100%. I totally get you.
So did see after this then, once you had the treatment, did you get all clear?
They can't really say all clear. They're not allowed to. They've got to say no evidence of disease. Was it that exact?
I used to train a cancer specialist, a doctor, and he says there's never a cure.
No. So you've got to always just, you know, be careful and prepare for like a recurrence. You know, you can't try not to live in fear and negatively every day of your life, but kind of be prepared, like, especially with mine because it has a high recurrence rate. So I think I was always kind of living in fear. I only managed 1 year of nothing.
I know I said earlier, I was mentioning kids, but did you tell them at this point?
Oh yeah, they knew about it. So obviously I needed a couple of weeks to process it.
The reason I'm asking that's just because, as I say, we've got a kid similar age to yours, and that's the bit that gets me. That's the bit I think about hard.
So at that point, I wasn't. Death wasn't in my head. Terminal cancer wasn't in my head at that point. That wasn't happening to me. You know, that just I wasn't in denial. It wasn't happening. You know.
And for that, are you more a kind of positive thinking kind of person rather than straight to the negative?
I think so, yeah. But also just because I've always been a fit and healthy person, and nothing really this serious has ever happened in my family. So I just think, right, this is just a second chance at life for me. I just need to,
You came from like a dancing background,
yes,
wasn't it? So that's basically where. Because that's fitness itself. Yeah. I've seen myself try to get up and dance at a party, and I'm the sweat's dripping off me. You know, kind of like to go back to there before obviously all the cancer all kicked in. What kind of dancing was it? Was it competition style or was it?
So no, I never really done. I actually started dancing a bit later in life. I kind of started about 10, 11. It was just ballet that I done, and then I just get into a wee bit more, you know, jazz and a bit of lyrical, just to kind of mix things in as I grew up. And then I went to when I was in high school, I wasn't dancing at all in high school.
No.
I think I went back to ballet for a little while and I was kind of just not, I think I'm very like doubtful of myself and not very confident, and I just kept telling myself I'm not good enough, you know, especially because I hadn't been doing it since I was 3 or 4.
Did you do the standing on your toes? Is that something you could do?
I did. I had the block shoes. Yeah, I didn't do it for a long period of time, but I did have them. Yeah, it's agony.
I think that's got to be the hardest thing I've ever seen in life.
I've seen ballet dancers' feet, and it's not nice.
I didn't quite get to that stage, but if I'd done it, you know,
because them little shoes are.
Yeah, there is a solid block in the bottom of them. I know.
That's crazy.
Sore.
I struggle. I don't even tie my trainers.
That comes with age, so it's like
Velcro.
Once you get past 40,
I tuck them inside my shoes.
I've got that zip inside. It's just easy on and off. I know you kind of said you weren't so bad with like the chemo, because chemo can get a very, very bad rep.
Yes.
You know, because medicine these days is now constantly evolving. There's so many different types of chemo.
Yeah.
You know, like you've got the is it BEP, carboplatin, cisplatin. There's loads of all the different names.
Many.
There's loads of them. But you said you never wasn't that bad. Was it kind of you didn't have like the nausea, the feeling sickness, the tiredness?
So yeah, I would get the feeling of sickness, but I was never actually sick. So not very nice, but I would be hanging over the toilet kind of broken, thinking I was going to be, but I was never actually sick.
Did you get the nausea tablets? Did they give you stuff like that?
Yeah, so when you first, on the day you get chemotherapy, you're given all those tablets that you need. Depending on what chemotherapy you're on, sometimes you don't need the tablets. But with the first lot of chemotherapy I was on, was the most probably brutal you could be on. And you take them all just for the first couple of days and then play it by ear. And I was always all right after that, so I think there was maybe one day, because what happens is you get your chemotherapy, I would get it on the Friday. It would hit me on the Sunday and I'd feel...
So the 3 days. Yeah.
So it'd hit you on the Sunday and then you'd start to feel, well, I was kind of feeling weird, maybe going to the food shop with my mum on the Tuesday and I'd feel like I was kind of floating, not really there. But still able to walk around and do everything that I needed to do. I wasn't like lying in bed not able to move. I mean, I remember like 1 or 2 days where I was asleep on the couch and I'd be in a deep sleep, you know, or falling asleep at like 5 o'clock in the day, where I wouldn't usually do that, and nothing was waking me up, whereas I'd usually, a wee noise, something small would wake me up.
Did you say listen to your body?
Yeah,
You know,
and I did.
It's like you've got to, because your body will tell you when it needs to rest, or when you feel a little bit
How
better.
long does the chemo treatment last? Like,
Everybody's different. It depends.
How
It goes
long were
by.
you?
I did 6 treatments every 3 weeks.
how long is that?
Yeah.
Is that
And sometimes you can get an awful lot more than that though.
Aye.
You can go on for a lot longer, yeah.
Was it just the chemo drip, or was it like did you get the
Intravenous.
boosters and start to get booster jags and stuff like that?
Yeah, I had to
Was
do that myself though. So that was another
Did you?
part.
Did you have to take it home?
Yeah. With a needle box and everything, yeah. And it was
Really?
horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That'd be,
Aye, it was
how
horrible
often's that then?
for the first 7 days after chemo.
Is it?
But it also depends on what chemotherapy you get. For me, it was 7 days, and you just have to grab as much as you can and thing it.
And pinch it in.
And to be honest, it's honestly not that it's a slight nip, right? But I think the mental side of doing that, like
the
I felt
psychology,
sick
yeah.
every time I went to do it, but I couldn't let anyone else do it either.
Yeah.
It's funny, like some
It's-
people need someone else to do it, but I was the opposite. So
You want
that
to
was
take
hard.
charge of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But see, I don't know about you, but I am petrified of needles.
Mm.
You know, it's not as if someone's cutting you open,
I know.
but that's what it feels like. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that little, that little prick, you're like, oh, I'm going to die. Oh my God.
I think it's maybe a man thing.
Do you know what? I couldn't disagree with you on that at all. That is definitely, I've got the flu and it's
Yeah.
worse than you.
Yeah,
That is definitely
So
a
how
man thing.
long from being diagnosed to
So,
Finish the
so
job.
I was diagnosed on 21st of October 2021. Must have had the operation maybe like a week to 2 weeks after being diagnosed, because it was all done quite quickly, which was
quick.
good. Yep. And then I think I was about maybe 6 weeks healing time. I remember my son's birthday's on the 6th of December and we were doing something that weekend or something, so I'd asked to postpone it a week, which was fine. They were fine with that. So it was maybe about 2 weeks before Christmas Day, I would say, roughly, when I started the first treatment. I was done chemotherapy by the end of March, and then in April, you wait a little while as well just till it kind of comes out your system, and then I did the 10 days of radiation after that as well at the kind of start of April when I was done.
So when did you then for the second time? When did that?
So that was almost a year later.
Was
It was
it?
quite scary. Almost a year later. A year to the date.
Was that just one of your checkups?
No. So I had
Oh.
a scan. I had a full PET scan I think it was the end of November, like that, the end of that year, and it was all clear, which was great. And then in the March, I found another lump right in my armpit myself.
That's quite close.
That's how fast it grows. So that's the
That's
scary
really, that's what 3 months? Literally.
3-4 months,
12 weeks?
So I'd got about a year cancer free, if you can even say that, because I don't think you ever really.
I was about to say that. Did you ever feel cancer free at the time?
I don't know if I would have used those words.
Yeah.
I would have just said no evidence of disease, because I know how bad this one is and how
How quickly it could
the
turn?
recurrence rate is high.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Were you aware that it could
Yeah.
turn that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I feel now like it was just always one step ahead of us, no matter how.
It's like the demon in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're sitting there, because I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you're sitting talking to us three, but there's also the demon in the room.
Yeah.
Whether they say you're cancer free or your cancer's gone, is keep an eye on it. That demon is always in that room. It'll never leave you.
No.
And I totally get you on that part. I
I think if I'd got to like for the 5-year mark, I would have been able to relax a little bit. But I have spoke to women who've gone 10 years and it's come back, so it never leaves you. Never.
So what happened then?
So that at that point, then I had a larger surgery where I had a full lymph node removal. So all my lymph nodes on my left side are gone completely from all that area.
Is that from the side? Is the side that goes down the arm as well?
Yeah, so I think it's more down this side and your armpit as well.
Up
All
your
that
armpit.
kind of is all gone. And they took, just as much kind of tissue away as they could without causing any restriction or damage to my arm. And I was hoping that it was just that one lymph node that I could feel, the tumour that I could feel, but I think it was in another 2 lymph nodes once it was out. They obviously
So
tested.
it was a bigger surgery than they first thought.
No, it was the same surgery because they were taking all the nodes out,
Right,
but there was more cancer there that then showed up on the PET.
Oh, so they found that when it came out, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
Which
that
was not a good sign.
no? Was it quite an invasive kind of surgery?
I mean,
was
yeah,
that?
for me, I've been lucky though. What she said, because I'm so petite, when she opened me up, she could see like my whole anatomy basically.
right there,
so it's
kind of
easier for her, which is obviously good. And I've not had any restriction. I mean, I've got a lot of hard scar tissue all around this area now. And if my kids bash into me, you know, it's really sore.
tender.
Yeah, it is. It's really painful. But no restrict. And when you do have a lymph node removal, you're at high risk of something called lymphedema as well. So, but you know, that can happen then. It can happen 10 years. It can happen at any point. They just don't know. I just need to be careful with this arm now.
Yeah, it's kind of it's an open wound, is it? It's like obviously when they take it out, it's never going to be the same. There's always going to be chances of some sort of infection, and I don't know with the lymph nodes with yourself, but with me when they took my cancer away, I'll always have nerve damage.
Right. Okay.
Where it is that kind of?
I think that's probably what you could call it, because along kind of down the back of my arm, just it doesn't feel right, and I think that's what it is. It's like
going to the dentist and kind of thing.
It feels kind of numb. Yeah, but it doesn't restrict me from doing anything.
That's not.
You just get used to it.
So you took the words right out of my mouth there. It's something you think I have to live with. I have to live with this. You know, if I'm living with this, I'm still living.
Well, that's it. I feel like I'd live without my arm to just not have cancer.
100%.
So was the treatment then the same as before?
So it was they can't really go back on because in their eyes what they've given me hasn't worked. That's how they look at it. So I was then on a chemotherapy tablet, which was for me easy, no bother. Couple of side effects. You get things like constipation, diarrhea, usually one or the other, but nothing massive for me. So I was okay. This was just swallow a tablet, got on with my day.
Is it one tablet a day?
I think now that was a couple of years. I think it might have been.
Yeah.
I can't remember 100% on that. But I think I was to do 8 cycles of that, and I think I only managed 3 before I found another tumour. So that was that. Binned.
Literally sitting there on the path to getting better.
Yep.
You know, or finding your way, or navigating through this path of craziness. It's the only thing I could describe it.
Yeah.
What was your feelings on? I think I know what you're going to say here. When you found it again, was it sheer devastation?
I mean, obviously I'd found the one in my armpit, so that was a blow to start with, you know. As soon as I'd heard lymph nodes, that's when I started to panic, because when it gets in your lymph nodes, it can go through your lymphatic system and end up anywhere. Yeah. So I was really worried when I found the second. When I found the third, I kind of started to think, this is game over for me. Like, not that I was going to, you know, die anytime soon or anything. That's not nice to say, but it's realistic, so I'm just going to be real about it.
But it's a worrying thought.
It is, but at that point I was like, this isn't going away. It's going to happen to me.
See, at this point, did you look into anything else for yourself? Any other treatments?
I think at this point, this is when I started to.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That's where I would start, I think.
At that
so
point.
I think but what you're saying is obviously the first one was hard enough. And you're thinking, right, okay, we've caught it, we're doing it, we're on the path. And then the other one comes. Yeah. Then you're like, that's probably when it has come back. Yep. And you're like, shit.
Yes.
You know, there's no other way of saying it. It's like, shit. You know, what was your thoughts on, obviously you go back to see your oncologist and stuff like that, but what's your thoughts of thinking for your, because obviously you're going to need to go a different path now. You know, you were thinking, was it more chemo? Was it more stuff down there?
No, I think at that point we would kind of put things on hold because I went in to get it removed. So this one was just in the tissue, it wasn't a node. Okay. And it was quite easy to remove. In fact, I actually think that she, not very nice, but when I was awake, cut me open a little bit because it was right at the top of my skin, scraped some away for a biopsy that day, rather than, you know, having to wait. So we done it that day. And I found out, I think by the end of that week, that was quicker that time. But I just knew what it was anyway.
Yeah. Back to the old saying, isn't it? You know your body, you know where things are starting to go wrong. And you've always got that little tiny bit, oh, maybe it's nothing, it's nothing. Yeah. And then obviously when the oncologist comes back with the biopsy report, and it's like, oh, honestly.
So, I mean, that was removed and we didn't do any treatment at that point because I think they didn't really know what to do. I'm quite a unique case, and I've been told that from oncologists in London as well, at one of the top cancer hospitals down in London as well.
Did you you went to London to see these?
I just done an over the phone and a video call. Yeah, that was also something I paid privately for, to get a second opinion as well. And they kind of just said, you know, everything that your team have done in Glasgow has been spot on, exactly what we would have done, kind of thing. But yeah, you kind of start to realise that throughout the NHS, they're all going to do the same thing, and the same thing. Sorry, and follow a protocol.
Yeah,
they're
they've
not
got
going to.
procedure.
They've got their own kind of
Yeah.
script to
Yeah.
kind of go through, but obviously with it being your own case, you know yourself.
So what are they saying to you at this time? Like chances wise, what do they tell you?
I mean,
What do
they don't say anything like that. They
That's
don't.
what I've wondered that myself.
Well,
Do they?
what she did say, obviously, that was worrying my oncologist was, look, due to the nature of this cancer, you know yourself, like, I can't remember how she worded it, but she more or less said that she was just waiting for this to pop up somewhere else. So, like lungs or something,
Yeah.
And if it did happen, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen pretty fast. But I'm kind of outweighing the odds now because that's, touch wood, hasn't happened, and it's all still been kind of localised so far. Considering I was diagnosed in October 2021, it's been just over 3 years ago now. Like, I'm kind of lucky to still be here, to be honest.
How was your with you're lucky to be here's that for me is with mastitis in my head. You
Yeah.
know, I would run 100 mile but still sit still. How is your support group for that then? Because obviously this is a second time that you've felt, and obviously this is probably, as you've said, the first time that you've actually sat down and went, oh no,
Yeah.
where do we go from here? So how basically, did you know of anyone, or did the oncologist say, look, there's someone similar? Or
No, they'll never say that. That's the problem. They're not allowed to, I don't think. So I just did all my own research. Me and some of my family done it as well. And a lot of it's on Facebook. You're speaking to real human beings in America, different countries. Right, what treatment have you done? What's worked for you? Where's your tumour? You want to know the ins and outs of people's stories and things like that. And that's what I've done. Along with lots of research as well on other holistic medicines and things like that.
how
as well.
was I can imagine where this is going to go as well. How was your mum and your sisters and stuff like that, and the rest of your family? How did they feel with it being the second time? Because obviously the first time's bad enough.
Yeah, I think just soul destroying. They were just like, this is never ending, but she doesn't deserve this, when she's going to get a break, kind of thing.
Take the words right out of my mouth. It's only, I know exactly what your mum now will be thinking. She's just a young woman. She's a young family.
Yep.
You know, everything going. You know, we've been through the tough part.
Yeah.
And now here comes
More.
your new Everest.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do I get past that? How do we get around it?
Yeah.
Why can she not get just a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Just
On a break.
100%. You know,
Yeah.
So did you try any other treatments yourself after that?
I mean, on and off things, because at that point I still was quite uneducated on it. I was doing like, just different vitamins and all that kind of thing. It wasn't really anything. So, and people recommend different books and stuff. So there's a book that I was told to read. I can't really make sense of it, to be honest. So then I was told about a Facebook page where this woman kind of breaks it down for you.
Okay.
And you just pay whatever you pay, and then you get a protocol to follow. And this is what I'm doing now. It's all the off-label kind of medicines and things. And, some of the medicines you can't get in this country. It's not legal.
Do you know, that's the side that I would, like, just what you said there, a lot of I can imagine a lot of it would be doctor talk.
Well, that's the problem.
And that's, I even say the same in the PT game. The fact is, a lot of it makes it sound intelligent.
Yeah, it's
When
like
really you just need it broke down, simplified.
Is it the
100%.
BRCA1 and the BRCA2?
Yes,
The
it's
same
so
can be
frustrating.
genetic. And were you offered? Did you get a genetic
They
test?
do that right away. So, see, when I was first diagnosed, they do that straight away, and I had to wait. That was a big gene test, so that took about 3 months, and that was a hard wait for me. One of the hardest, more than anything, waiting on, because if I had it, my kids were going to have it probably.
Yeah.
Like, if I had the gene, it would have more than
How did that come out?
So that letter came in, and I couldn't even read it. Thank God I'd come in the door with my mum. I was shaking like mad, and I couldn't even. I'd never experienced this
It's
in my
worrying.
life before. I was reading it, but nothing was going in. I couldn't read it properly. And I just said, Mum, please take that and read it. And she said, it's fine, you've not got it. And the 2 years were just...
Oh, that must have been
What was that? This is
You don't
coming from
carry
an educated person. Was that the BRCA1 and BRCA2 and stuff like
yeah,
that?
so I didn't carry that gene, because usually,
So you
not
had
usually, but it's
passed it
quite
on
common
to-
to have it when you have triple negative, which means the kids don't have it.
Did they ever find out maybe if your mum or anything?
No, but they only really ask, like, has breast cancer been in your family
Family.
history, which it's not.
Yeah,
So there has been cancer here and there, but not
because
breast
sometimes
cancer.
it could be a mum, a gran, or,
Yeah.
or
not
whoever
the-
coming
not-
from. Yeah, no, definitely. Oh,
So after that was when I did so we waited for a while,
right.
and then I found the 4th tumour, which is actually still there just now, pretty small. And within a week of finding that and finding out that was more cancer, which you know anyway, but you have to go through the whole process of going in. They look at it, feel it, biopsy, blah blah blah. So within a week of finding out that was another one, I found a lump in my chest, which I wasn't sure if it was a lump or not. I was trying to feel both sides, and I was like, is it not? You know, I just wasn't sure, and I said, I'm not taking the risk. So bear in mind, I just found out, you know, on Thursday, this other one I'd found on my side near the original tumour was cancer, and then I found this lump in my chest, and I thought, surely not, you know, but I just wanted to go and check anyway. And I remember my surgeon, she was feeling all round, stood behind me, felt all round. She went, I think she thought at this point that I was just losing it, you know, like it was in my head at this point, because I'd had so many recurrences at this point.
That's what we kind of spoke on before we got here with the P53. They say that every cancer does have this mutant, the P53, especially in triple negative. They say it can be up to like 80%, which can mutate and move. So that alone, I think, tells us it's a super aggressive kind of thing, you know, and it's not to be taken lightly. 100%, you know. So it's like, so when I can only imagine, I can't even. I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I can't imagine.
It's hard to digest it. I think people ask me like, how are you coping? I'm not really coping. I'm really good at putting a brave face on. I guess that's because I've got 2 kids and I just don't have a choice really. But I think it's because you'll never accept it. Like I won't, right till the very end, I'll never accept this because I don't think my kids should be left without a mum. You'll never accept that.
When did you ever find out it was incurable?
This is the next bit I was going to go on about. So see, after I found it in my chest, so my surgeon was convinced it wasn't there, and she said, but I'll take you through to get an ultrasound just to put your mind at rest. And I thought, I hope you're right here. No.
So see, at this point, are you still thinking there's a chance?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I went in there, it was bad news.
Because I know
I wasn't expecting any good news. Every single time I went in there, it was another blow, another blow, another blow.
That was the time I spoke to you in the gym, wasn't it?
Yes.
Young girl, you said normally she speaks to you over the phone.
That's right.
And she wanted you to come in.
Oh no, that was...
was it afterwards?
That was... so it was last November. So a year ago, was when I found this. That was when I was told I was incurable.
That's the one you still have?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
did they tell you that straight away, or
So what happened? No.
Did you avoid that?
No, it's just it works a certain way in the hospital. So they went in, done the ultrasound, and the doctor again who does ultrasound was very quiet. And I just knew, I really just knew. And she said that my surgeon had come in with this, my point, I've got a good relationship with my surgeon now, and she wanted to come in as well. And I think she was even worried that, you know, the radiologist was quiet. And I just kind of looked at her, and she turned round to my surgeon and she went, okay, I do see something. She was like, but I'm just going to get you to be outside for another wee 5 minutes just so I can discuss this with your surgeon. Blah, blah. And I said, okay. So I knew at that point. But obviously I don't think they knew what to do or how to say this to me. So I had to go back outside. Now this time I'd went on my own without my mum, because I was at this point where, you know, you were saying you don't want to be a burden. I just felt like my family had been through too much, and my mum had been at every appointment, and it was bad news every time, and I was like, I can't do this.
That's the way I think I would feel. That's why I asked it.
At that point, see it from your mum's point of view, kind of.
I know, I do get that, but
well, if it was my daughter, I would have killed her. Why did you not? You would, I know.
It's because you want nothing but to be that strength, that support, that kind of thing. You know, it's this kind of. But then you've got your part. It's like, yes, I've got this. Yes, I'm going through it. Yes, you're still going through it, but I'd like to give you a little bit of respite at the minute. You know, okay, if I've got to do this, we'll work it together, but we can just kind of try and get your mum and that to kind of come down a little bit.
So did they tell you that day?
So at that point, I think I was just like, every time I get on that table for an ultrasound, I'm shaking from head to toe. And the nurse was like, are you cold? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm a nervous wreck. You know, I've never experienced this level of worry and anxiety in my life before. Utter fear. So it was worse, obviously, because they put me back out to the waiting room for 5 minutes. So I was just my whole body was shaking, and I was on my own. But I knew at that point, I just knew, right? Or they would have said everything looks okay. So they brought me back in, and my surgeon, who I've got a good relationship with, said, look, we do see more cancer there. Unfortunately, where it is, I can't get to it. I can't remove it for you. But I think at that point, I still didn't realise it. The word incurable wasn't in my head. I think I thought chemotherapy or something will get rid of it, you know, like it just wasn't in my head. But I think it was because I was in shock, and the fear, everything just was was overwhelming. So that wasn't in my head at that point.
You think in this day and age, with the science that's been there and the technology that's there, I find it quite hard to accept that they say they can't get to it.
Exactly
they can't. I can understand there's all different reasons. It could be on a blood vessel, it could be somewhere.
That's where mine is.
Oh, is it definitely on a blood vessel? Yeah,
but I still didn't really understand that. So the frustration was like what you were saying, I can't accept that. How can you not get in there, you know? That's the same this day and age, how can you not do it? And it was all this like medical, you know, the way they speak to you. And I'm like, can you just please give it to me in
Plain
simple
English,
English? And she
yeah.
went, okay. She went, if we were to try and remove this, she like, would have to break your collarbone, we'd have to do this, go in this deep. She went, you could die on the table. And that was her exact words to me. And I said, do you know what, thank you. That's what I needed you to say to me. I needed you just to say to me in plain
blunt
English.
truth. Yeah.
That's what I always say, simplify it.
Exactly.
Aye,
Simplify it.
break it right down.
Because if
Because
we
I'm
all,
not medically.
yeah, if we all
you know,
spoke
trained.
dirty doctor jargon, we would we would know where we're going
Exactly.
ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you're not stuck in that dark tunnel
Yeah.
looking for that kind of rare life somewhere.
No, I'm the very same. I say it constantly.
Just
Break it down, make it simple, make it understandable. So is that when they tell you then?
So I didn't realise at that point, that was when they said, she said she couldn't operate. And then you go for a meeting with your oncologist, an appointment, sorry. And that's when she said it. But I kind of was expecting it. Once I'd allowed it
Did you
some time
believe
to
it?
sink in. Yeah.
Did you?
I was with my mum and Graham and we just all looked at each other and it was complete silence. None of us even knew what to say to each other.
But even then, no, this sounds daft, but do you still think in your head somewhere there's a chance?
Of course I do. I think,
Yeah,
it's, I think
you've
it's a
always
human
got to.
instinct.
Yeah,
I think
you've
it is a
always
human
got to.
instinct, yeah.
You said yourself, even with you, that you practically gave up on yourself and you had a chance.
100%. My chances
See, I think
were
that's why I
way
think
more.
it's phenomenal the way you've.
Yeah, I think everybody's mind is different though.
Mm-hmm.
It can affect everybody in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
My reason is my kids. And
Yeah,
I'm
I get
like,
that.
absolutely not. I'm not going anywhere.
Yep.
I'm
You
not
obviously-
losing them.
We've spoke about this before. Sometimes you say, oh, I've not been at the gym, or maybe you get a bit annoyed at yourself for
Yeah.
not being here, not being there. But for me, of what I know of you
Mm-hmm.
and what I see of you, jeez, you're a mum first. You know, and that screams out of you. You know,
When you see your
kids
page
and
and
your
everything,
family
that's-
are
Yeah.
literally your all and be all. You know, and that for me, everything else can all hang.
Yeah.
You know, because that'll always come first
Yeah.
with being a mum. And like you say, with your mum not being with you, she'll always feel the exact same.
Definitely,
getting
yeah.
away.
No matter
How
what
would you
age.
see like, your fitness wise and things?
Mm-hmm.
Usually this, right now, you're just the same as you've always been.
Probably not the fittest, no.
But do you think you could be? If you're not,
Yeah,
like, if you really
because
went
there's
for
nothing
training,
restricting
really,
me just now, but if they wanted to put me back on chemotherapy, I'd be
Aye,
able to
couldn't
do
we?
it. Yeah.
But right now, you think you could
Uh-huh.
do anything you've ever done?
Yep.
Apart from run,
Probably
you
even
don't like running.
no. Maybe a sprint,
Aye.
but not a long distance.
As I said, coming in here, the only thing I run to go and see is ice cream van. That's
No,
literally
but that fascinates me as well.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that being told what you've been told and you can still live like a perfectly everyday life,
You
really.
have to try, I guess, haven't you? You can't.
But what is normal?
Do you find fitness in that
once you
helps?
get that,
Yeah,
Does it?
definitely.
Do you
Yeah.
find?
Because
you
I'm
find-
not working, I'm not able to work just now with all the appointments and scans, and like mentally, I couldn't do
You
it
couldn't.
just
That's what I
now.
was going to say. Do you find it helps mentally more than anything else?
Absolutely, it takes my mind off it.
how do you keep track of it?
What the fitness?
Because I know with myself, with all the appointments, they were thick and fast.
Oh, it's
They
on my diary, which is just scribbles everywhere.
My diary
But
was
without
crafty.
it, yeah,
But without that, like what you're saying, I would not have got through it.
no.
She would have to tell me, right, 2 days' time you're going such and such a place.
Yeah.
1 day time you're going in such and such a place. You have to be ready for this. You have to be ready for that.
I can imagine your head's a mess at times.
See,
Yeah.
if that hadn't happened for me, I don't know how I would have got through
I
that.
think
kind
it's
of
more
sense.
like that when you're going through active treatment, so chemotherapy, because you've got all your appointments and stuff then. But because I'm not doing any of that just now, my appointments are like my scans every 3 months, so it's like in the diary for that. So it's not as chaotic just now as it would be going through treatment, if that makes
No,
sense.
well,
So what's happening to you right now? What you getting? Anything?
No, I refuse chemo for now.
Right.
But my
Have they
oncologist,
offered it?
yes,
Yeah.
of course,
Why?
they're not going to.
Are you looking at that as a?
Well, I
how do
just
say
feel
it,
like I've,
like a last option?
maybe not last option. Next option of what I'm doing now doesn't work, which is all the holistic stuff, off-label medicines.
How are you finding that?
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not affecting me in any negative way so far.
Is there anything? Is there anything that you don't agree with, like that side of it? Is there anything that you find how would I say this? Like, because I imagine for somebody like yourself, there must be a lot of people trying to sell you stuff that's
Yeah,
rubbish,
there has
basically,
been.
just
They
because.
just want your money,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
To
I can
sadly-
imagine it must be an easy thing to trick you into.
But I think I've always just kept a good head on me when it comes to things like that. I've always been a bit
You do
wiser
a bit of research and
because
things
I've
like that.
done my
don't you?
research and I have been doing it for the last 2 years or
It's a
so.
horrible thing to say, but there must be so many people out there
Oh,
prey
there
on
absolutely
something like
is, especially when it comes to illegal substances. You know,
that. That's what I imagine. I imagine there's a
Oh,
lot out there
definitely.
that would just.
you
I
don't
see it in this game, in the PT game,
yeah.
and I see it they prey on people's weaknesses,
Oh, absolutely.
especially this time of year. Like the start of the year, it'll be lose certain weight, lose this, and
Yeah.
I'll promise you this, and
Yeah,
I imagine that must be the same. It must be worse.
Yeah, it would be worse, I'd say, because there's people in my situation who are desperate. Absolutely desperate, and would just pay out any kind of money for false hope, I guess you could call
Why
it.
do you say that, paying out money? How is it expensive?
It's
Like
extortionate.
other treatments? Because I've seen so many things you've said, and I've thought that's a
It's
lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Yeah,
It's
it's a lot. And if I wanted to do, haven't spoke about clinical trials yet, but if there's a clinical trial I want to do, we've already looked into like the UK. That's how bad it is. There's barely anything. There was nothing for me to do in the
Is
UK.
it more America kind of way? Because I
Could
know,
be Spain, Germany, and I'd need to be there for 3 months.
and that
So
costs a
how
lot
could
of
you
money
fund
on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just to basically live.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it.
yeah.
you would need like hotel rooms,
Exactly.
feed yourself, transport.
Yep.
People don't understand all
No,
of that,
they don't.
because it's a massive, massive burden.
What sort of
I
money
know.
is in treatment then? Like, I know it would vary, but what can it vary from?
Well,
Is it-
one place I looked at in Mexico was about £40,000, and that was for like a
that
3
one
weeks.
treatment?
No, you get loads of different treatments. They do your diet plans and everything for you.
Okay.
But if I remember correctly, I think that's a 3-week stay.
3 weeks.
I think it was 3 weeks. I need to double check that one.
You can
but
imagine just
it's
going on
not-
holiday to Mexico for 3 weeks is expensive enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let alone have to find
Yeah.
and with a young family, 40 grand
I know.
to literally just try and hope.
And
that
even
there's
then,
something-
what can they promise you from that?
They can't.
Nothing.
No.
That's
That's
what
why
I was
it's
thinking.
called Hope
Aye.
Yeah.
It's called Hope for Cancer. This
Expensive
particular
hope,
place,
isn't it? Really, when you think.
but then I feel like you would just do anything at this point.
100%.
Money's not even it is,
Well,
but if you can
Money's
get
an
it
issue
raised-
of trying to have it,
Yeah.
and make sure you can do it. But
Yeah.
it's just like everybody, if we win the lottery tomorrow,
you can't
it's-
put a price tag on your life.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can't. Well, for me and yourself, putting a price tag on
To me, it's
family.
Aye,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. For
Yeah.
me, it's that side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you can get here with your family.
You had tried the
Simple as.
immune therapy.
Yeah, this was a gutting. I was gutted with this because that's the kind of main and only thing worldwide that's supposed to be working for triple negative, and it didn't work for me.
That's meant to target and fight
Yeah,
the bad ones, because with chemotherapy, some of it just attacks all of it.
it does. Yeah, Yep.
What was it? What was the thinking when you first got that? Were you thinking this might have
Well,
been?
if we go back to last year, so when I found the tumour that's still there on my side and the one on my chest, I'd done more chemotherapy last year. So that would have been around the same time as the very first lot, actually, December through to March. But it wasn't hair loss. I was fine with that. There wasn't very many side effects. I still had to do the needles in my stomach for 7 days after, but it wasn't as harsh. And alongside doing that chemotherapy, I was also given the immunotherapy. And then when the chemotherapy finished in March, we carried on. So this was this year now that I'm speaking about. And we carried on the immunotherapy every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks I'd come up to the beats and I'd get the intravenous immunotherapy put in. And that was going to be long term, forever basically. But then, yeah, that's when I found that. So
Getting immune therapy all the time, was that something you were looking at?
it was supposed to be continued, but we finished it in September this year because my scan in June, so we'd done the chemotherapy, done the immunotherapy, and my scan in June this year was clear. There was nothing there.
Okay.
Which was amazing. But I was also like, I don't want to get my hopes up because I know how this cancer works.
You've been not let down, but you've been
Exactly.
setbacks so many times until this point.
Yep.
So you've got in your head, not that you're thinking it's not going to work, because you are a positive person.
Yeah.
I see that you see the good in what could hopefully come from what's happening.
Yeah.
But for that to go the way it went, then I think as we not fast forward, but we get to the end of your treatment, how long did you get for yourself before you realised it hadn't worked?
June to September
Last year?
this year.
This year? Oh yeah. Christ, I'm sitting in January. Heads away with the fairies.
Yeah. So we celebrated in June and we went on a family holiday.
How you went to America?
Yeah.
You went to
Which
Disney?
was a big holiday. It was a memory maker for us, it's not a holiday we would usually do.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, but I think everyone was like, oh, thank God. But in my head I was like, Just not sure.
It's the demon in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you sit with the, right, okay, I'm here, I'm now, I'm doing great, I'm doing brilliant. And then when all the fun and all the stuff's went away, you sit down, watch a TV, and someone goes,
By the way.
do you remember me?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no,
Yep.
go away,
Yep.
leave me alone.
Yeah. So then my scan in September had shown that it was back again in my chest in a new spot in my latissimus dorsi muscle, kind of around the back a bit, but still near that area. And it wasn't working, the immunotherapy, so we stopped it. And that's when I started doing the stuff that I'm doing now. I'd been researching it for a while because it's the research.
What are you doing just now? I seen something, was it the
chamber?
I do have the
oxygen
hyperbaric
chamber
chamber in the house now to, I don't know if you want to get any figures for this, but to hire that, and I looked at a couple of different places in Glasgow, but for 10 sessions of that, you're about £1,000, about £1,000. Now I need to be doing this once a day. Well, I'm supposed to be doing it twice a day with a minimum of 4 hour break in between. So 10 sessions would have got me 1 week. I was doing 2 a day, or 2 weeks if I'd done 1 a day.
So you're talking roughly £4,000 a month.
Yeah, so I had to do a lot of research into looking at it. Now I've got one, but we're hiring each month.
That's probably,
So it
excuse me, that's
works out
probably
better.
higher than most people's wages.
Exactly.
It comes in, it's no.
And that's just one thing. That's not even any of the medicine.
What
and
does
any
that
of
do?
the
It's
order.
It's
So they
frightening.
say that cancer can't survive in an oxygenated environment.
right?
So when you're breathing in that pure oxygen, it's supposed to be going in and healing you, basically. It goes in through your skin and everything, not just breathing it in. And the chamber goes up to like what do you call it? I forgot the name of it now. But you sit in it and the level goes up so your ears start to pop.
Okay.
Do you hear it?
It's the pressure. It's
Pressure,
like
that's
pressurised,
what-
isn't
sorry,
it?
yeah.
Do you
Pressurised.
feel a difference?
No, you don't
No.
know. They tell you that you don't feel a difference, and you could possibly not feel a difference for months later
Right.
if you're going to feel it. But things could be happening that you don't really realise are happening, especially if it's inside your body. Like for myself, I wouldn't know.
It's one that you can't see,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like if you've got a cut in your finger, you know it's healing,
Yeah.
you know it's fixing, you
Yeah.
know, but
So, what's your next? What are you thinking next?
So the
Where
problem
do you think
is,
you're going with treatment wise?
yeah, so my last scan was September, my next one is the 5th of December. But because this research took so long, and even when I got my protocol, I had to read through it all and dissect it. It was 66 pages long. And I had to, try and source this medicine. There was a few websites on it, but it still wasn't very easily laid out, I guess you could say.
so
So
how did you
Again,
navigate
but-
through it?
Yeah, it
Because
took
there'd be words and stuff of what
That's
it is.
it.
You'd have no idea what that is.
and side effects, and
Yep.
you need to take this to counteract. So it was a lot, and I was up really late for a good couple of weeks trying to get through it all before I started ordering it. So I was trying to give myself from the last scan to my next scan, the full 3 months. But there's still stuff stuck at customs in India just now.
Jeez.
So people just don't realise, like,
It's frustrating.
but
You
it's
know,
it's a lot of stuff that I need to do on my own. Like,
I
it
can
takes a
imagine.
long
There's
time.
a lot.
And I don't mean this the way it sounds. I don't mean it. You don't have the time, but you don't.
Yep.
You don't have that time to wait. You want it now.
That's it.
You want
See,
it in. You
saying
want
that-
it done. You want it moving. You want it going. You
Yep.
want to get the fight that you know you need to fight to get it
Yeah.
in.
This is a horrible question, right? I hate even asking this, but
Right.
have you ever been given a time?
No.
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 Could you be given a time?
Yes, I think if it's
Alright,
spread
you
into an organ, a main
Right.
organ, they might be able to give me a time then.
Would you want a time?
I don't think anyone wants a time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I think I'd need to know for my kids.
That's again
I
what I
need
was
to get
thinking.
things in place.
You take 100%, and obviously
We've spoke about
do
it
things.
before.
Yeah.
Do things with them
Absolutely.
to make sure that you've left. Which you've left, because you're going to leave an impression on them anyway.
I know what
Because
you mean.
you are their mother.
Yeah.
I've seen on your Facebook about the whole pantomime stuff and all that, and you are
You spend all
there.
your time with your kids.
Yeah.
For what
I
see,
mean, I don't think that's
This is
healthy.
another no.
But because of what I'm going through, I don't want to
Yes.
go on a night out. I don't want
Aye.
to go.
Do they know?
precious time.
No, I can't tell.
Will you?
I'll need to at some point.
That's a question. That's something I couldn't even imagine.
But we're still sitting on this part of, if they can get this out India, get it from there, get it going, bring it in, let's get moving. That's the part I can see that you're that you're holding to, which you would do to start with. But it's like, what is the aspect? If they give you a reason why it's stuck in another country and won't come through here, is it because of the medicine?
I don't think so. No, I don't actually know the reason.
No?
I don't know. I don't know much about it. I didn't really ask many questions. I'm just trying to get everything I can get as fast as I can get it.
You're probably dealing with 100 things at the one time.
Well, that's it. And the girl who gives you the protocol has just been recommended by, it's a Facebook page. But, you know, you can tell that she knows what she's talking about. She does this for thousands of people. They're all highly recommending her. You know, she's not an oncologist, but she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And
See, another thing, this is
Educated
something I've
very
always
much.
worried.
Yeah.
Even from your point of view, I remember you telling me, what happens with things like earning money?
Mhm.
Because obviously you can't work. It's not something you get a job in.
No.
So how does that work? Even with yourself, I know you lost a lot during the time.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that? That's a side. I know it's a horrible side to think about, but it is a side that there must be.
There's only so many benefits that can stretch so far.
Aye.
You know, and
know.
it's like,
And that's what I mean. How do
and
you
trust me, it
live?
doesn't stretch at all.
Well, I mean, it's getting tougher.
Aye.
It's getting tougher. I mean, partner has a good job, but it's the outgoings when you've got kids and things, you know yourself, like it's just money here, money there. It's constant. So it's
A
difficult.
relationship is two people and two kids. When one's not, you struggle.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
massively struggle.
Oh,
Especially
really?
now in this
I know
day and
what-
age,
I
like
know how
things
that
are
would
just
be.
So
ridiculous now.
expensive. Everything's massively expensive.
Yeah.
Even I saw myself going for an ice cream cone. It was £4.
Yeah.
£4. What were you thinking? £4.
I know.
All I can say is I didn't see this on his MyFitnessPal.
My ice cream cone.
Aye, I didn't know. That was the
Sometimes you need to
Kelly
treat yourself. It's just,
There's no barcode on it. You can't scan it.
I never got this bike, to be totally honest with you. But what part of, we know we're sitting here now literally waiting on the stuff
Yep.
to come in.
Yep.
Is there, and I know you're thinking of a million other things.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're looking to do in the meantime?
I take what I've
Before.
got, like I've got some of the medicines and things like that, but I mean a lot of it's like, you know, it's like a tub with a label on it. You know, It's nothing thingy, it's like white powder, mix it into water, start it in the afternoon, sip it, like it's very intricate, you know, and it's a lot, and I'm like, but I need to go and do a panto run, or I need to go, I can't have 3 different water bottles and sip it at this time, this amount. It's a lot
to do.
It is a lot. So I'd say that I'm doing it, but I'm probably not doing it as well as I should be, because I'm trying not to like stop life. You know, I can't do that.
Is there any treatment that stands out that's got your interest?
I think a lot of people that are doing this say that it's not just one thing. You have to be doing it all together.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I feel like I need to.
combination of-
It's a combination, of it all.
Is there
So that's
anything you say you would never do again? Or anything you've tried that you think was
probably radiation?
you
But
find
this is
that
a personal thing to each individual, because some people are just think that's all that works and don't believe in anything else. So it can be a touchy subject, which I completely understand. But from the research I've done, chemotherapy is poison. You know, it destroys.
say that
It's
for a lot.
destroyed. You know, veins in my arm will never be the same anymore. It's
You see you've got a lot of
I
damage
can
with it.
tell you where it was going to rain or snow with parts of my body. It just gets like my feet and one of my
causes
right
nerve
foot
damage.
will go extremely cold.
Yeah, my right hand.
Then you're
does that.
walking on it and you're going, I'm missing a leg. How am I missing a
Feels
leg?
like it's not there.
Yeah, and he's like, geez, there's parts of it, and obviously, like a lot of my muscles are sore.
Yeah.
You know, if you go and do something,
Do you think this
for like
day
an
needs
hour-
to be something else? Or it be more advanced? Because that's been the same treatment for
Well, I do
50
believe
years.
there's been billions, if not more than that, put into cancer research, and I'm now, 3 years down the line, only starting to believe that I really don't think Big Pharma want to cure cancer. And I know that's a bold statement, and I know not everyone agrees with it, but that's my opinion. There's too much money to be made
That's
in it.
what I was going to say.
Far too much money.
There's no money in a cure kind of
Yep.
thing. You know, it's
Yep.
like it's sad that you actually have to think.
that's what they say.
That
There's money
because-
in war. That's the
Yeah, I feel like there is a cure out there somewhere. My gran, she's always said, I think it's in the rainforest somewhere, which would make sense. You know, it's
It's
probably
like
something that we don't
Something
know.
for one of the wee frogs or something.
Yeah, that you don't know how to
or-
get out, or from a plant that you don't know how to get out, or just from everything that I've seen in research so far, which has been a lot, it makes me believe that. Yeah, and this is why I'm going down that holistic path. I said to my oncologist, I've tried it your way. I've tried 5 poisonous chemotherapies and radiation, and it's done nothing for me. So now I need to take my health into my own hands now and try to heal myself my own way.
That's where healing begins. It begins with you.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to want to be a certain way. It's like the gym. You know, it's like
Yeah.
me. A lot of my body ached for a long time. It was the first time when I had it. I met you in the Everlast gym on the other side.
right, LDW, yep.
And even before I had got the testosterone gels and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I was sleeping constantly.
Yep.
Sleeping literally constantly. I could get in the car and go 5 minutes to Kirsty's mum's house and I'd be out cold.
Yeah.
Literally out cold. You know, because it's like people forget there is a journey afterwards.
A long-term effect.
100%,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not.
Has this affected any relationships from your point of view? Because I know
don't
you said
think
it was quite tough for you, like just even for like a family's point of view, with your wife and things like that. Just
It did become. I think that's more of Kirsty was wanting me to get up
Yeah.
and get on and get moving. I think it was more a frustration rather than it literally was going bad or anything like that. It was
Yeah.
just a whole case of it was like yin and yang. You know, I was in pure depression, and Kirsty was like, "I want you up here with me.
Yeah.
You know, we need to go forward, move forward." But
you
sometimes
found
that's
anything like that? Anything that
No, I think I mean, I don't have a huge circle of friends. I had to travel around a lot with Graham's job anyway, so I wouldn't want a huge circle anyway. I've just got my family, got my tight circle, and that's it.
happy with you.
I think my best friend definitely struggled with it. I'm not going to mention names or anything, but she had a lot of cancer in her family,
Okay.
and she just couldn't cope with it. So I heard from her, like, maybe not as often as I usually would, sorry. And she actually did break down. We went for dinner one time, and she got upset, and I don't see her cry very often, and she was like, "Rachel, this was, this maybe the third, I think it was the third tumour, sorry." And she said to me, like, before, I just couldn't deal with it, but I know I need to try and, it's not me that's going through it, I need to try.
It's hard. It's hard for the person because whereas before you would talk constantly.
Yeah.
It's all fun. It's all happy. It's all
Exactly.
great. You're doing this one night. You're doing that the other night. You're talking about whatever you want to talk about. You're talking about dresses, shoes, or whatever. Then the next minute you're talking about how ill you are.
I know.
Some people find that. I found it with me, with people. It's not that they didn't want to talk to me.
It's just too painful.
100%. They just want it to go away.
Yep.
That why did this have to come and be between us and my best friend sit like that? And
Exactly.
it's like they find it hard to process.
Yeah.
people find it hard to even just the idea of just talking to you
I know.
because they don't know how to treat you.
Well, and I know, and I hate that
Is
as
it-
well, but I
aye.
know what they feel like because I had spoke to women before me who were terminal, and I genuinely didn't know. But the thing is, there's no right thing to say. There really isn't.
The best
Because-
thing to do, in my eyes, is treat you like they would
Normal.
every other day. Aye.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
It's-
What advice would you give another woman who is literally on the start of thinking, I don't know what to do here. I've got something, I think maybe, I don't know. Would you encourage women more, which we know is a given, like to check themselves more, push for more,
Yep.
Well, we were talking earlier
scans
saying
and
that
whatnot.
even if you go to a doctor's, like what you done, when they said they didn't think there was anything wrong, push for it. If you believe there's something,
You know your own body.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't say it for all doctors, but a lot of doctors out there just have no faith anymore, to be honest. I really don't. And that's an honest opinion, just from personal experience.
well, I get that even for myself. I think I've been to doctors twice in 10 years or something.
Yeah,
And it's purely because you just know you're going to, well, in my case, going to walk out with paracetamol or
exactly.
just basically take these and you'll be
They
fine.
don't know what's wrong.
Or as we were saying earlier, everything's viral.
Yeah.
Just viral, it'll go away.
They do try and, I would say they do try and turn younger women away,
Yeah.
by saying, I mean, I get these messages all the time through my social media.
You don't fall into a bracket.
That's
If you don't fall into that bracket, that thing, they go, well,
and it's sad, but you are just a figure on a bit of paper to them,
Yep.
and it's bad, but that is the way it is. And that's why I say to women, you have to fight for it. If they're not willing to, if you find a lump, for example, and they're just saying to you that it's probably nothing, they don't know. No one knows what that is.
I was going
until
to say,
you
you're
have
better to
done
get it checked to find it's probably nothing.
exactly
Aye.
a
I've
scan.
seen you post some stuff to encourage women more
Yeah.
to literally be their own doctor per se,
Yep.
not say what it is. Oh, I've
Yeah.
got a lump. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a woman, I think you said, that contacted you.
Yes. So this was a few months ago, and she told me that she'd found a lump. She was quite worried. And I said to her, I'm not going to tell you not to worry, because of course you're going to worry. That's everyone
Yeah,
says,
that's
try not to
right.
worry. Well, how can you not worry? Right. So I say, I'm not going to say that to you, but just make sure you get checked. Don't let them turn you away. Make sure they refer you. There's no way of anyone feeling it, even no matter how many years you've been doing it for. They can't tell unless it's either scanned or biopsied. That's a fact. So if you're worried, make sure they refer you to the clinic, the breast clinic, to be scanned or mammogram, whatever. And she went, she told me she'd been biopsied, blah, blah, blah. Waited a couple of weeks later, she messaged me, she said, I've been diagnosed with whatever breast cancer it was. In fact, rewind, sorry, she'd said that she had seen my post where I had shared about checking yourself, and she said she'd never checked herself before but stopped what she was doing that day and went and checked, and then she found that lump, so that's when she contacted me. But her biopsy came back a few weeks later that it was cancer, and she messaged me saying, you have quite literally saved my life.
Wow,
See,
what
when you
the-
say checking yourself, that's a spring story into it. It's, see, when you, how easy is it to check yourself?
It's so easy.
Right, this is the bit that, even from my own point of view,
Yep.
is it a matter of just feeling?
Yes, but you can Google, you can
Just
YouTube a
feel,
video
yeah.
of exactly how to feel your own
And if
breast.
you feel
or-
something abnormal,
if you get to know how your breasts feel, right, for example, because younger women's breasts are more dense, which means they are more lumpier. But if you get to know what they feel like on a normal day, if there's something there that's not normal, then you should be able to tell.
It's like everybody, you wash yourself every day. You'll know
you'll notice
when
a bit.
certain parts where you go, oh,
Yep.
what on earth is that? It's like myself. Yeah, mine was in the other area. For me, it was like I didn't know it was there, but I had an idea it was there because the way it came, it was like an explosion
Right.
kind of thing. So then I had pain 6 weeks later. Then that's when I knew.
But what I was going to
found
say
it.
to you is also very important that a lot of time with cancer there isn't any pain.
No.
For me there was no pain. There was no side effects. You can get blood from your nipple and things like that and other things, other symptoms, but I didn't have any of that. So you know, if I hadn't felt it myself, I don't know how.
Yeah, I know from my point of view, I'm a bad one for thinking, yeah, well, like you're saying, no pain.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, well, I'll go away.
Yeah.
Mine was pain in another area. I actually
Yeah.
found it in the side of my thighs.
Right, okay.
You're like you're pulling it as if you're tight, kind
Yeah.
of thighs, kind of thing. And then that's probably a couple of days later.
Right.
I thought I was, and I felt myself. Then that's when I felt it. Mine was 2.4 centimeters
Yep.
in size.
But do you think if you had been checking yourself you would have found that? Because that's a relatively,
Um,
that's a good size of
it's a hard question, to be fair. I think I started checking myself after mine's literally was
Yeah.
like a pop.
Yep.
You know, then I felt it there and then, and I checked. There was nothing. Then as I just went on, it was in the back of my head. Probably 6 weeks later, I was fixing up my mum and dad's house, which had a catastrophic leak, with a plumber putting in a new bathroom, and they put a wee thing in overnight, and the water's come down. So the ceilings all came down.
Right.
So me and my friend Paul were doing that, and then I went up to go and have a shower, and I'm like, I felt uncomfortable. You know, it was like, it's kind of niggly.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the shower, it's more relaxed. It's a heat thing. You can feel more, you know, and
Yeah.
literally that's when I felt the bubble at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Were you checking yourself before it?
No.
Or did you find it purely by,
No.
right, see, that's,
You're living life.
That's it.
33 years of age.
And also at the
Young
time,
kids and
Graham was working abroad, so I was on my own for 2 years with 2 young children as well. So, I mean, I'd been following people's journeys and it was traumatising, you know, it was really scary.
because I think it'd be a thing that a lot of people don't want to find.
of
It,
course,
it
there's
definitely is, but I think that obviously the
It's
earlier
something
you
you
find
need to
it, the
find,
better.
aye.
Because if I hadn't found it, then it could have went to like my lung, and that would have been it. I wouldn't have had much time then.
See, that's, because I think, especially for younger people, it's a thing that you don't want to find.
No.
So,
I mean, it's definitely,
that,
it's
if you don't know,
yeah,
you can't hurt your idea.
that's it. It's definitely
But
less
that's-
common in younger people, but it's not impossible, and it's definitely getting worse.
There was something for me, a question I'd like to ask you. It's when I got diagnosed,
Yeah.
then that's a devastating part on its own, right? But for me, I can only speak for myself. I'm just wondering if it's maybe other people have thought this. When you get referred
Yep.
to the Beatson, that for me
Yeah.
was, oh my, this is serious. Like, oh my God. It's not that I didn't want to go in there. It was like I was scared to go in there because you know going in that building, technically what it could mean. Did you ever kind of feel,
Absolutely. Every time I went in, I was one of the youngest there. Every time I went in, it was all older people in
Same.
wheelchairs that looked really ill. And I was striding in there like there was nothing wrong with me. With a full head of hair, you know, until I lost quite a bit of it. But then I would wear the hat and I still wouldn't look unwell, really.
did
So-
you, do you feel as if you were, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fake, but did you feel as if you're like, I'm feeling okay, I'm kind of looking okay, there's unfortunately
Yeah, I've
people
heard this
here.
a few times that
Yep.
you're sitting there thinking, why am I here?
I didn't feel like I belonged there ever.
Same.
Never.
Same,
And
but
even now when I have to go in, I can't wait to get back out. I don't want to be there.
For
You
me,
never look at life as unfair.
Every day.
Because that's the bit that would.
Every day.
I'm assuming you're not a religious person.
I was brought up Catholic, kind of went out of it, you know, for a long time. I went to a Catholic primary school, I think I told you that before, then went to a non-denominational high school, so
Same.
kind of, you
Exact
just
same,
lose
yeah.
the way of that, don't you, when you're in, it's just, you know, your parents stop going and stuff like that. But since this happened, yeah, I'm into it now more.
So have you became more religious?
I mean, I don't go to chapel.
See, that's why I was asking, because I think I'd go the other way. I think
Well, I know
I'd
what
do
you
the
mean, 'cause
side
you
of it
think
of why.
Well, I know.
That's
I know.
If I'm I've said it before, I'm an atheist, I'm quite openly.
Yep.
But I look at it as, why would something like that happen? It shouldn't happen.
I know.
Whereas I know, that's why I asked, because I know some people would go totally the other way.
Yep.
And become very religious with it.
Yeah, maybe I
But
don't
it's
know
that
if
idea of any hope.
I know. I think it's the hope thing,
Aye.
and I think it's because I was in, you know, it was drilled into me at a young age,
same.
and I just think they do say though, like, see if something's happening, I know me and we
Look for
pray,
God.
oh, please God.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think that's the side, because we never had that.
right, okay.
As you say, you
So
were
maybe
Catholic
that's what
school
it's
and that,
to
so
do
we
with.
were just basically,
See, I
we never had
became,
anything like that.
Might be a lot of
I
different.
wouldn't say I didn't believe. Like I say, I grew up in Catholic schools. I'm a massive Catholic family. My family lives in Airdrie. It's the Plains,
Yeah,
which
same.
is little
Yeah,
bloody island.
Yeah.
You know, but it's for me, it's the unknown.
yes,
You're like, why are we here? Why are we not here? You're
Yeah.
like, okay, there's got to be something. There's something somewhere. So I wouldn't say I was a believer, but I would definitely say I was a God-fearing person. You know, it was like you say, you go the other way. I've kind of sat in the middle. It's like you're sitting. It's crazy to say, yeah, I'm doing a wee bit just so I can get let in if there's something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, then you're the other one going, I've no idea. You're like, what's gonna
that's
happen
it.
if something? But that's a long way away. That's a
Yeah.
long way away. That's not
No, I know.
anytime soon.
Yeah.
So to kind of get to roughly the tail end, is there anything you think you want to express about how your journey's been and where you think your journey's going to take you? You're clearly worried a lot,
Yeah,
because obviously, like everybody else, you're looking for that cure.
Yep.
You're looking for that thing that's going to give you longevity in the part of your life of what you want to keep,
Yep.
which is family.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
do you have any? Are you still stuck in limbo?
A little bit.
A
I
little
feel
bit.
like I don't know what the end's going to be.
Mhm.
But a bigger part of me thinks it's going to be bad, because I know there's no cure. So I think what I feel like is the only thing now is a miracle. And I do believe in miracles, but I know not everyone gets them.
Yep.
So it's just whether or not I get this miraculous recovery or not, you know, somehow.
You know, you just don't stop trying.
That's it. Well, I'm never going to give up hope. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people do message me saying, just don't ever give up. And I'm like, you don't even need to say that to me. I've got 2 kids.
100%.
relying on me
You've got all the fight you need to literally move
Yeah.
forward with. You know, you just need that break
Yeah.
of what we spoke about earlier.
Yep.
You're just, it's hope, it's fear,
Yep.
it's love for what you
Yeah.
have, literally trying to go forward. And sometimes a day to day, you could be in the other. You know, it kind of, knowing you and knowing what I've been through, you sit with so many things that literally not pull you back, but the person that's want to move forward
Yeah.
is not being allowed to move forward
That's
because of the other things that's holding you down.
That's it. And I think that's only natural. I think most people would be the same.
I think you're, honestly, Jay, I've said this to you before, I think you're a phenomenal person, the way
Thank you.
you'd still live life the way you do.
Yeah.
I think many people could break.
Yep.
So many could break.
Definitely.
And I think myself is quite strong, but when it's something like that,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd react.
I see a lot of strength in you. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes you'll probably sit and go, yeah, but you don't see me when I'm
You don't see the
in the
bad
living room
times.
crying and my
Yeah.
kids are in bed, you
Yeah.
know. But for someone to literally come here and speak about this, that's a massive thing as well.
Yeah.
It's not just about you, it's about education.
That's it.
You know, it's about, as you say, if that one woman got to you and went,
Yep.
thank you very much.
Yep,
you know,
even if something
that's a
like
big
this.
thing.
That's what I want to try and do. That's
Yeah, we
the
don't know
one-
how many this podcast goes out to, but if it helps one person,
Yeah.
it's done its job.
Just when you were saying about checking yourself, like I just recommend doing it on the 1st of every month. That's what they always say. Just in the shower, the 1st of every month, just do it.
Just keep it as a ritual.
Once a month on the first is enough.
You don't have to do it too much, because if you do it too much, then from my own aspect, you get used to it. You know, and if something did come, then you've probably felt it slightly before, so you're thinking, nah, it's not nothing.
It can affect you mentally in a negative way, I think, if you do it too much as well, definitely.
Because then you start
Overthinking
you're
things.
looking for something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that sounds daft, but you know what I mean with
No,
that.
you would be.
You start to see something that's not there.
Yes,
Aye,
definitely.
I could believe I could get that.
We've got the other part of it as well before we start to wrap things up and stuff. There's also, as you say, the treatment that you've been through, and the treatment you're looking to try and get through is not cheap.
No.
It's an expense of which, Christ, it would stretch the most people out there.
Well,
with
again, this was
their own
another
businesses.
reason for today. We may as well get this out just now. We were thinking, we're trying to get, well, you know yourself, we're putting a fundraising day together, a personal training day, basically 4 hours of back-to-back classes, which will be fun. Which Joe's
And people are asking me, I want to come and do it, but I won't manage all 4 classes.
Oh,
you
you
don't
can
have
just
to
come
do
and do
all
what you
4
think, yeah.
classes.
You actually said something to me on a message when you said, if you'd done the 4, what would people think? That's a side that I think that people expect you to bill.
I know.
I know
Yeah.
this is what you're thinking,
They're more
but I like
judging
the
you
idea
rather
that
than-
ideally I'd like the idea that you show them what you can do.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be very much, mind.
No, but
Not because of treatment, just because I look fit just now.
But the side of that gives people, a lot more people hope.
And motivation.
And else realising that, well, because a lot of people will think you're ill.
Yeah.
When they hear it, they think illness.
Yep.
So the side of it, whereas if you're doing anything that day, it shows them a side of you that, it shows them that they have an excuse.
Yeah.
Simply.
It's
that's-
motivation.
Aye.
Yeah, if I can do this, you can
You
do
can
this.
do
kind of
that
thing.
sort of idea.
I'll be there for the whole 4 of them.
Aye, somebody's
I will be
I
DJing,
think I'll
but
do a bit better than you.
aye.
No, well, you will, but because I'll just be playing music, I'll just be DJing anyway, to be totally fair.
No DJ, doesn't DJ very rarely DJs,
Not
but as soon as I offered a 4-hour fitness class, he threw his I'll set the decks up.
You don't need a DJ, you've got me, it's totally fine. But you also have something that your sister set up, your GoFundMe page of stuff, which we will put in the top of the
Put that
comments and stuff,
as well.
the link and stuff
I've
like
also got one myself for anybody that's going to use as well.
Yep.
the QR code.
There's a
Which
QR
we
code
can-
on my page. Again, all this one. We'll get it up plastered everywhere.
You can also stick it on the end of this video, so
Yes.
leave it on for a wee bit so people can literally do the stuff which all
If
the
anyone
money's going
does
towards.
fancy joining in, and it's open to anyone, it's the Everlast Gym, Glasgow Fort. It's open for anybody.
What's
The
the
way we're
times?
working, it's 10 o'clock to 2. So it's 4 50-minute classes. I'm taking 2, and I've got 2 PT friends that are going to be taking part as well. It's not, we're not going to destroy anybody. Not on that day anyway, but it's,
On that day,
aye,
we're gonna do it,
it's
didn't
4 50-minute classes.
Yep.
With
and
plenty
what's
of
the-
women there, that's why I need a 10-minute break. I've dealt with too many women, and there's always pee breaks somewhere in between. So 4 50-minute classes. Ideally raise as much as we can through sponsorships, or if you want to turn up my day, it's basically £20 for the 4 classes, every penny.
£20.
Everlast have been brilliant.
They
Which
have.
they've been really good. They're
all the
offering
stuff.
everything.
Amazing.
They've got flyers up everywhere, so so anything we can raise, and it doesn't matter how much it is, anything's something.
Yeah,
Have a lot
absolutely.
counts.
As I say,
Because
so-
as you say, that chamber alone is £1,000 a week. You know, to even
Well,
I
even
don't know for speaking sake, just
there's 50
hypothetically,
people at £20.
yeah, if you get a couple
Exactly.
of weeks out
That's
of
a
them
week.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that, that's a burden you don't have to literally,
know.
because it's a lot of money.
I know.
A lot of money, and it doesn't stop there.
No.
That's, as you say, that's
ongoing.
one treatment.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just trying to find that treatment that makes the difference. And sadly,
Well, I've
it
even
doesn't come
said,
cheap.
if anything gives you any extra time with your kids, it's worth it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely,
That's the way I look at it.
absolutely.
That's,
Same.
This is why
that's
we're
why I've
here.
always said. I say it doesn't matter. Look, we don't really know you.
Yep.
I'm saying to Joe, I says, in theory, you could have been the biggest arsehole I've ever met. But it's your kids, really.
Yeah.
It's their future, so.
And that screams through you,
Yeah.
and we all can see it.
Yeah.
You know, and we just want the best thing for you.
Thank
And that's
And on the
to be
records, you're not that big an arsehole.
Thanks.
so
A bit bigger.
people don't know what DCPT stands for.
So that's basically me, Derek Christie, personal trainer. And a nice fitting. The fucking logo in the background, isn't it? But aye, so
And I'm
that's
Joe,
me.
personal latecomer.
Yes, aye.
I'm
There's a
always 10,
client that's
15
very
minutes
rarely
late.
there.
No joking.
It wasn't you this morning, though, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't. But
Some of us are working. Some are working.
I'm working and getting in early.
Facebook pages or Instagram pages, in case anyone wants to follow. What's your Instagram?
It's Rach_Jax_and_Marlow.
Nice.
Probably better putting it
Made it a wee bit
in
easier,
the
Katie.
description.
Yeah, we'll stick a link in the bottom bit as
Well,
well.
I'm the same. I'm Christy_Derek.
It's a bit simple.
Why it's back to front, I don't know, but
And for me, I'm too old for Instagram. It just
Aye.
puggles my head. That TikTok, it's like
we'll put everything on the screen so that, or on posts and
put it in
things
the
like that.
comments and stuff like that as well, so people
As
can
I say.
follow links and
Yeah, it's easier.
go and see stuff there.
And if anyone out there is even slightly generous, donate anything at all. To say everything counts.
And any questions, certainly any questions, if you have any worries, any fears, certainly follow
happy to.
yourself, and obviously, more importantly, check yourself.
Yes.
If you have any
Absolutely.
worry, any fear, doctors get it all the time. You know, be your own surveyor, as you would say. Any issues, just go and get it checked.
Yep.
It's that simple.
All I can say is thanks very much for doing this.
Yes, thank you very much, Rachel,
It's a big
for
thing to
literally
talk about,
coming
so-
out, and
Yeah,
Good on you.
thank you.
you're very
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Yes. And we might get a theme tune thrown in at some point. He made us a theme tune.
It did.
I did, that's right, I did. It's the Benny Hill song, isn't it?
That would be. No, but thanks very much.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for coming on. We really appreciate you spending the time with us.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in 2 weeks, a week and a half. That's
Looking forward to it.
perfect. Yeah.